friend dropped off some shagbark hickory the other day, and that one has to be prepped. But another one I took some staves out of. The staves were kind of twisted. And I'm really at the point where I don't like working with wood a stave that's really not perfect, and you got to play with it. But what I did do is I trimmed it out anyway, and I was able to get a small 60-inch bow blank out of it. And if you look at this one here, it's very narrow. I have super narrow limbs. Okay, very narrow limbs. A 6.5-inch riser that's going to have a handle put on. And I got some processed sinew, deer tendon sinew that's been processed. And I'm going to sinew back this with hide glue and let it sit for a few months. And we're going to see if I'm able to get this one back to my draw length at 26.5 inches. So we got a couple of days of the remnants of Hurricane Erin coming through today, tomorrow, and then eventually I'll be able to fire harden this bow and get it nice and toasty and take it off, and then we'll sinew back it. So for those people that say, oh, you shouldn't make a sinew back bow over 50 inches or whatever, well, these are 27 from the fade out to the end. If you have a bent through the handle bow, that 27 would equate to a 54-inch bow. All I'm doing is putting some dead weight in the middle and extending the limbs out. I'm putting a handle so I can have a little shelf and a grip. It's not a waste, that's why I have thin limbs too, to put the sinew on the bow that's 60 inches with a 6.5-inch riser, so I'm able to have a grip and a shelf the way I like to shoot. It's worth mentioning that when you add a riser in between the limbs, it changes the geometry of the bow, and what it allows is for less of a finger pinch, more of a relaxed string angle. So there is some benefits to a little bit longer bow than you would, let's say, a horse bow versus a bow with a riser handle. You can get a little more draw out of it. Maybe a little less stacking too, we'll see. Good morning. It's Thursday, August 21st. And today we're going to fire harden this 60-inch bow that I'm going to sinew back. And I just want to give you some dimensions. And the dimensions are a 1/2 inch at the tip, going down 7 inches is 3/4, going down to 1.25 inches at the fade outs. Okay, so the overall distance from the fade out to the end of this limb is 27 inches. So we have two limbs that the working part is between the fade out and about 1 inch from the end, and at 27 inches. I have a 26.5-inch draw length. Okay, from the fade out to the fade out, we have a 6.5-inch riser in between the fade out to the fade out. Thin limb design. It's kind of a speed design because it's tapered very thin on the end. And we're just going to put a thin layer of sinew. We're going to have sinew from the tip all the way down to the other tip. And we're going to have a nice shelf. And we're going to use deer leg tendons that have been processed already. I spent $120 on them processed. And we're going to put that on, and we're going to let it sit for months and months and months and dry up and see what we get. Okay? And don't let anybody tell you that there's some kind of guideline or rules for making a bow. Okay? You can make a bow to any dimensions you want, and don't worry about what anybody says. If you got a 66-inch bow and you're worried about the back breaking, well, I usually put rawhide on with a little type on, okay? But if you want to sinew back it because you never sinew backed it and you want to try it, it may make it a little slower, that's okay. I would suggest you make the limbs a little thinner, you know, tapered, and do it, all right? it don't hurt. So what if you got a few feet per second slower? If you make a dependable bow and it's the first time you sinew back in, there are no real rules. There's no rules. You make whatever you want. If it works, it works. You know, you may be somebody that wants to go out to the 3D course and you want something unique and you want to be able to pull back to your draw length. So sinew backing will make the back a little stronger for a little shorter bow to perhaps reach back to your draw length and have the back of the bow that's under tension not lift up, okay? So don't listen to everybody. There are no rules. Do what makes you happy, okay? So I'm going to light this up. We're going to cook it for a couple hours, even though there's no time. Keith Shannon came up with the distance. When the coals are good, you put your palm of your hand underneath, and you want to get it to the 3 count. 1, 2, and at 3, it wants to be so hot that you got to pull your hand away. Okay? 1, 2, it's too hot. You got to raise it, knock down coals. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not hot enough. Okay? So that's how that works, because you can't use a thermometer. You get close to the coals, it shoots up. You can't measure the distance because wind and outside temperature affects that too much. So I suggest, I'm going to say this early on, you go to Shannon Outdoors and get his fire hardening DVD and watch his tillering process that I used. I add a couple extra tillering marks. I mark from the bottom of the string groove I have, usually 3/4 in, and that goes past usually past the tips overlays I have. Mark at the fade out, and between the fade out and that mark over there, I have a center mark. All right, and what we're looking at is the bend of the belly of the bow, the part that faces your belly. We don't pay attention to any bumps on the back of the bow or anything. We just use our yardstick, and we want to distribute that bend beautiful, okay? You've seen a lot of my fire hardening videos, so I won't bore you to death with this. I'm going to show you the bow after we're done, and I'm going to show you how I sinew back it, okay? I'm not sure what I'm going to use. I have Knox gelatin. I have Type-On hide glue, the hide glue, and we're going to see. I looked up, it's interesting, you go to that AI in the Google search and explains the pluses and minuses. And then I listen to the words of experience for guys that I actually know aren't like parrots hearing something repeated, that guys that actually made bows, and guys made bows with both that hide glue, regular hide glue. They made it with the gelatin. They made it with the Type-On, and they all came out good. All right, so there's pluses and minuses. I'll let you know when I figure it out what I'm going to use. I'll show you on a video. I'm going to have a separate video for sinew backing this bow. So I figure I might as well just add a little more to this fire hardening video. I'm going to show you, put your palm underneath, but don't touch the limb. 1, 2, 3. It's got to be common sense. You don't want to burn your hand, okay? If you don't have common sense, don't do this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're at a little over an hour. I'm going to raise it, show you what the bottom looks like, and I'm going to move the clamps over, because underneath the clamps there'll be white spots. Not that I don't think the fire hardening goes around it, but aesthetically it'll even out the color. That I decided to add to this video because we've got a little bit over an hour mark, and I'm going to show you what the belly, the part that faces your belly underneath, looks like. And this is a 4-day-old tree. It was a log taken from my friend's property 4 days ago. It was cut and trimmed yesterday and heated up with a heat gun and put on a backside jig. And now that I have it up in the air, I'm going to show you the belly, that it's not colored enough. We're going for that nice color. So it's going to stay longer. I'm going to put more coals on. We're going to get them hot, and we're going to go until we get a nice color. And then at some point, I will move the clamps and we'll let it go for another hour or so. And how this equates is, if you have a toaster and you have a slice of white bread that's damp, and you have a regular slice that comes out of the bag and it's dry, and you put them in and push down the button, however much time goes by, and it pops. The one piece of bread that's dry that came out of the bag is toasted. The other one is white because it's holding moisture. It didn't get a chance to cook. So if you maybe, just maybe, that bread is dry now, and if you push it down again, it will come up toasted for the second time. So there's a lot of moisture in this. Even though I used the heat gun, there's still a lot of moisture in this, and we're going to have to let it cook more to remove the moisture to get the color we want. Okay, so that's a good point. I'm going to just take this camera, shut it off. I'm going to show you what it looks like now over an hour. Because of the moisture content, it's not really getting the color we want. From the riser going to the right, very little color. Okay. From the riser going to the left, very little color. An important thing to have besides fireplace gloves for moving this up and down is a stick. So you could, as it's cooking, knock the ashes off of the coals so the ash don't suffocate the coals, and you can maintain that heat source. So at this little more than an hour and 15 minutes or so, I decided to add more coals after I knocked the ash off, of course. And you got to be very careful. If you're going to put lighter fluid on and you hit a hot coal, it's going to poof. Okay, it's going to combust, all right? It's going to flare up. So I advise just put it on and let it get the temperature, even if you have to wait. And if you do stupid things like I do and you take the lighter fluid, stand back. Stand back, because expect it to whoof. Well, stand back and just soak it and then walk away and get the torch or your match or whatever. I like a torch because it's far away. And I hit it with the torch. And then once it ignites, you just got to let it go. You don't want to do it again. You just want to let the coals catch, okay? So that's it. Once the coals catch, we're going to start cooking again, and then I'll show you what the bottom looks like the way it's supposed to be, okay, before we move the clamps. We added the new coals. We let it cook another half hour, and we're going to show you the bottom. From the riser going to the right, we have some color now, enough to move the clamps. From the riser going to the left, we have more color, and we're going to move the clamps over an inch. Well, we checked it. I knocked off some ash, and we got it cooking to the proper height again, and I'll show you when it's done. This bow has been cooking for a little over 3 hours now, and it's done. And a little over 3 hours was because I was allowing it the coals to catch, to get up to temperature. So a good solid 3 hours this got. And I'm happy enough with the color we have. It's a thin limb bow, got good color. And as soon as it's cooled a little more, we're going to take it off. I'm going to give you a good look at it. And I just want to show you this. This is a sassafras tree log that I removed the bark, and it's got some cambium on it. And it's going to be for a project that I'll show you coming up in the future. And I let it dry out, and it's fairly dry now. I'm going to put polyurethane on it and let it finish drying. And at some future date, I'm going to show you what I'm going to make out of this. All right, so that's a future video coming up. I'll show you that bow as soon as it cools down. It can form nicely to the jig. Check out the nice back set that we have. There'll be another video where I scuff up this back of the bow, the part that's away from you, and we're going to sinew back this bow. Okay, it's fire hardened good. All right, that's going to be the end of this video. The only thing I want to tell you that whenever you fire harden a bow, one of the most important things is that you rehydrate this bow. I'm going to get a soaking wet rag, as you've seen in my other videos. I got to go get it. Dunk it in the water. It'll be dripping wet, and I'll wipe it down. I wipe this bow down 3 different times over a period of an hour or so, an hour and a half, and then I'll put it in the house. But I want to try and get some moisture back in here, okay? That's the end of this video. Look forward to eventually shooting the sinew back bow and seeing how it is. So the next video will be sinew backing, and then months from then will be tillering, shaping, and shooting. Okay, so next the video will be sinew backing. Thanks for watching. Every day you wake up is a good day. Make the best out of it. Go out, shoot, do something. Make a project. Okay, I want to show you something interesting. These are the two 58-inch sinew-backed bows. They're backed with elk backstrap sinew, and they came off the same jig as this bow I just fire hardened tonight that's going to have sinew on it. And I want you to see how much more of a back set they have now that the sinew dried. It actually pulled it tighter. It's got a lot more back set, okay? So that's all. Just want to share that with you. And the next video will be sinew backing that bow that came off the fire hardening jig tonight.